Good morning. I feel like it's really dark, but maybe it's not. Playing a little music here this morning. I'm gonna put a little lip gloss on while we wait for a couple people. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. The song that is playing in the background is Brian Courtney Wilson, Nothing Occurs to God. Sometimes we have to remember that everything in our life happens for a reason. And for that, I say thank you. I don't know how you feel, but sometimes it's good to know that nothing actually occurs to God. I'm going to put a little lip gloss on this morning, or a little lipstick. Sometimes, there you go. I hope it's not too dark. It feels a little dark to me on my screen, but that may look a little different. It's a little cloudy outside today. So, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm going to turn this music off here. It is one of my favorite things to do in the mornings, to reflect on the goodness of God through song. I also read scripture, but sometimes our devotion time just needs a little music. Today I wanted to talk about, on Talk About It Tuesday, this is Pastor Lisette of Restoration Fellowship, RVA. I wanted to talk about Jesus as an ally. We are about a week into Lent. And for those who don't know, Lent is that 40-day period before the resurrection, or what we also celebrate as Easter, where Christians the world over spend intentional time praying, fasting, reflecting, all in an effort to get closer to God. Now, some of us might hear our friends or co-workers or other people talk about, oh, what you giving up for Lent, or oh, what you doing, or oh, you know, you're not eating chocolate for the next 40 days, or you're not drinking sodas, or, you know, whatever people are giving up in order to be a part of Lent, or in order to participate in Lent. Let me just say this to you. God knows our heart, and sometimes it's not about what we give up. It's about what gets us closer to God. And for me, what gets me closer to God this Lenten season is the way that I move my body and appreciate the temple that has been given to me by the Creator. And so I'm actually, if I say I'm giving up something, I'm giving up my time to make sure that I spend 30 minutes a day in movement, whether that's dancing or walking, or doing something that is active, whether it's, riding a bike or what have you, even though I don't have a bicycle, but I might find a stationary bike, but moving my body for 30 minutes. So find something that gets you closer to God during this Lenten season. And let me just talk a little bit about Jesus as an ally. We are in a times where Trump just signed the revised travel ban. And then we just heard the news about the Supreme Court not hearing Gavin Grimm's case about a transgender student in Gloucester, Virginia, not being able to use the bathroom that matches his gender identity. And for many of us, we may not understand what this means, what it means to be trans, or what it means to have the freedom to go in any space without somebody policing what we look like or who we are. It also may seem foreign to many of us to not know what it's like to live in a kind of fear that at any moment a police officer or someone in authority can, in some way, shape, or form, separate you from your family. I believe that in times like these, when we are wrestling with xenophobia, which is just a big word that means fear of the stranger, and we are dealing with transphobia, which means fear of people who are transgender. It really means that we are dealing with how to not love and accept our neighbor. And what it means to be an ally is to be someone who educates yourself, who is open to difference, and who is willing to love in spite of what you may be feeling or thinking, or you might be confused about. What I remember and what I know about Jesus' ministry is that Jesus always sat with those people that the society said was not the right people. Tax collectors, prostitutes, those with leprosy, women. Jesus was an ally. He was able and willing and bold enough to be with the ones that society cast out on the margins. In like manner, when we go to the writer of Hebrews in chapter 4, the writer talks about Jesus knowing our infirmities and being human enough that Jesus would then intercede on our behalf. One of the ways that we can be an ally is to share accurate information about those who are different from us. Being an ally means showing up and listening to those who are transgender, to those who are refugees or who have come into this country from another country. The media labels them as immigrants, but I label them and I see them as my brother and my sister who may speak a different language or come from a different culture than me. If we are going to be like Christ, then we have got to push ourselves to be an ally. And so I challenge you today and Talk About It Tuesday to talk about what it means to be an ally. Talk about it with your friends. Talk about it with your coworkers. Be willing to be vulnerable enough to ask questions so that you can be empowered and help someone else. You know, oftentimes we talk about privilege and many people toss that term around. But think about the privilege that you have and the way that you can use that privilege to help someone else. So when I go about my day to day, I encourage you to go about your day and thinking about what it means to be an ally, to be like Jesus, to show up for those who are different than you, to show up for those who you may not understand, to learn about and to be present for and to listen to those who are different. Because you never know that even in our differences, we find that we are really the same. And even if we don't find that similarity, what I do find and what I encourage you to find is the imago Dei, the image of God in every single person you meet. And so regardless of your politics, regardless of your faith background, regardless of your experiences, always be willing to be open to someone different. And in doing that, I believe we are being more like Jesus, who was, and I think continues to be, an ally to us all. Again, this is Pastor Lisette. Thank you for joining me for Talk About It Tuesday. I'll ask that you join us on Sundays at 3 o'clock for our worship service. We worship at Diversity Richmond, 1407 Sherwood Avenue. We have Bible study at 1:30. And then you can join us for our conference call support line on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. We always post the call-in number. Until then, join me next Tuesday at 8 o'clock for Talk About It Tuesday. I hope you have a great week, a wonderful Lenten season, doing what you need to do to get closer to God. And remember, you too can be like Jesus and be an ally to others. Have a wonderful day.